Distinguished participants, I am Kamikawa Yōko, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Japan. I'd like to extend my congratulations on this first Raisina Quad Think Tank Forum. And I also thank the Ministry of External Affairs of India and the Observer Research Foundation for organizing this event. Allow me to pay tribute to Minister Jaishankar's leadership in bringing the G20 meetings to a successful conclusion last year. I recall meeting him shortly after I took office as Foreign Minister last September. We had a frank and productive discussion. I look forward to having him to Raisina, Tokyo in March, and to continuing to work together for Japan-India relations. Today, competition among states over security and global issues has sharpened. Precisely because we face such deepening divisions in the world, I believe it is necessary to maintain and strengthen a free and open international order based on the rule of law. For this reason, Japan, together with its allies and like-minded countries, is working to further develop a free and open Indo-Pacific FOIP based on the rule of law. It goes without saying that the Quad is one of the most important initiatives to this end. To date, the Quad has steadily implemented initiatives that have benefited the Indo-Pacific region in various areas, including maritime, critical and emerging technologies, cyber, and counter-terrorism. The Quad's initiatives must continue to move forward. This year, I will chair the Quad Foreign Ministers meeting. I'm looking forward to working with my colleagues of India, Australia, and the United States to promote initiatives that involve various stakeholders beyond national, regional, gender, and other boundaries. For the Quad to further develop with its inclusiveness and diversity, let us deepen our cooperation even more, including collaboration among think tanks and the promotion of women, peace, and security. These efforts would not be possible without the new ideas and international outreach of the experts like you gathered here. I hope you will have a lively discussion today. Thank you very much.
I congratulate the Observer Research Foundation on a successful 2024 Raisina Dialogue. Last year, I had the honour of being hosted twice by the ORF, at last year's Raisina Dialogue with my Quad Foreign Minister counterparts from Japan, the United States and India, and then during my visit to New Delhi for the Australia-India 2+2 Ministerial meeting in November. As I've said during those visits, strategic competition, climate change and economic disruption are reshaping our region. In this context, the Australia-India relationship has never been more consequential. We have a shared interest and ambition for a region that is peaceful, stable and prosperous. Our deep ties through culture, economics and people are growing stronger. Australia and India are translating our shared interests into practical cooperation to shape the region that we want. Earlier this month, my friend Minister Jaishankar and I co-hosted the Indian Ocean Conference in Perth, Australia's Indian Ocean capital. It was a unique opportunity to bring together a head of state, 17 ministers and 400 delegates from our partners across the Indian Ocean to work together on our shared interests. Our practical cooperation in the Quad provides another important opportunity to contribute to the resilience of our region. During his speech in Perth, Minister Jaishankar made the point that the Quad's elevation to regular leaders' engagement sends a message in itself. Last May, for the first time, Quad leaders released a vision statement outlining the enduring principles we commit to upholding together, including a region free from intimidation and coercion, where competition is managed responsibly and disputes are settled in accordance with international law, and the importance of upholding the centrality, agency and leadership of regional institutions, including ASEAN, the Pacific Islands Forum and the Indian Ocean Rim Association. We've maintained strong momentum in offering, but never imposing, transparent, valued public goods that respond to priorities of Indo-Pacific partners. The Quad has funded programs to support the region tackle climate change and manage the energy transition, respond to outbreaks of disease, provide technical assistance and research on undersea cables, and increase maritime domain awareness. Sitting alongside my Quad foreign minister counterparts at the 2023 Raisina Dialogue, I described the Quad as a lighthouse, which brings together our four countries to illuminate a positive vision for the Indo-Pacific. And we look forward to taking this agenda forward in 2024. Thank you very much.
Hello, everyone. It's really an honor to talk with you today. I just wish I was with you there in person. I'm U.S. Deputy Secretary of State Kurt Campbell. That still feels awkward. Secretary Blinken regrets not being able to provide a message of his own due to his extensive travel, and he asked me to speak on his behalf today. I want to first acknowledge the great work ORF President Samir Saran has done, the entire ORF team, and the Ministry of External Affairs in making possible this critically important forum. And Minister Jaishankar, who is with you in New Delhi and has personally made key contributions to the successes of the Quad. While I've been in this position for a short time, I'm no stranger to the vital Indo-Pacific region and to the power of the Quad partnership. As the White House Indo-Pacific coordinator for the past 3 years, I know the deep and growing relevance of the Quad's contributions. The Indo-Pacific remains the world's most dynamic and rapidly evolving region. The strength of the Quad is its ability to harness the resources and capabilities of our four nations together to deliver concrete outcomes that benefit us all. President Biden has said decades from now, people will look back and say the Quad bent the arc of history toward global good, and I believe that as well. The rapid growth of the Quad from a single annual ministers-level meeting in 2017 into the multi-issue, multifaceted, whole-of-government engagement framework it is today in 2024 has enabled us to promote that common good for the people across the Indo-Pacific. We have done this through the Indo-Pacific Partnership for Maritime Domain Awareness by providing commercial satellite data access to partners in the region, the Quad Infrastructure Fellowship to provide scholarships to build teams and networks among the next generation of scientists and technologists from our four countries. And we are also pleased to have started accepting applications for our second cohort of Quad Science, Technology, Engineering, and Mathematics Fellows, among many other people-to-people exchanges. 2023 also saw the first ever Quad vision statement, affirming our commitment to a region that is peaceful and prosperous, stable and secure, and respectful of sovereignty. The Quad Leaders Summit in Hiroshima and Quad Foreign Ministers meeting in New Delhi last year showcased the breadth of new and ongoing Quad initiatives, and the interim Foreign Ministers meeting in New York in September reinforced the important role the Quad partnership plays in multilateral bodies. Finally, I want to emphasize the defining feature of our partnership. The Quad stands for an affirmative vision of a free and open Indo-Pacific in which we collectively build the capacity of our allies and partners. And that's because, as Secretary Blinken has said, the Quad is not about forcing the region to choose between strategic competitors. It is about preserving and creating options so that communities, institutions, and countries can make decisions to benefit their people. As Quad partners, we're working together at all levels, from leaders and foreign ministers to our students, industry heads, scientists, engineers, and thinkers, to build the habits of public and private cooperation that make positive and lasting differences in the lives of people in the region. By combining the power of our four countries' democracies with the ingenuity and determination of people in the region, the Quad continues to advance the prosperity, connectedness, resilience, and security of the entire Indo-Pacific. Thank you, and I wish you a great conference, and I look forward to seeing you in person soon.
Mr. Samir Saran, Foreign Secretary, colleagues, dear friends, it's a great pleasure to join you all this morning at the inaugural Quad Think Tank Forum, organized in partnership with the Raisina Dialogue. I appreciate the messages from my colleagues, Australia's Foreign Minister Penny Wong, Japan's Foreign Minister Yōko Kamikawa, and the US Deputy Secretary of State Kurt Campbell. The event today, organized jointly by ORF and MEA, is among the efforts and preparations led by India in the run-up to the summit, which will happen during the presidency, during our presidency of the Quad. Now, you all know that in the last 5 years, Quad has become a significant and substantive platform for 4 large resident Indo-Pacific vibrant democracies that are seeking to uphold an open and inclusive Indo-Pacific. Like any new mechanism or platform, the Quad too is a product of its times. It emerged from global necessities, faltered for some time due to a complexity of reasons, and was then reincarnated with new governments and different circumstances. Shinzo Abe in Japan was perhaps an exception, which is a statement in itself. Now, as someone who's been long associated with this enterprise, allow me to share a few thoughts about its history, because there are important lessons to be drawn from it. The origins of the Quad go back to the tsunami response. This was an event which happened in late December 2004. I happened to be the coordinator for that response on the Indian side. In 2006, the actual idea of an Quad was put forward by the then Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe. But as I said earlier, it unraveled within a year, and in fact, Abe himself had left office at that time. In 2017, after a full decade, Quad was resumed, first at the Foreign Secretary's level, and then was upgraded in 2019 to the Ministerial one. Coincidentally, I happened to be occupying both positions at that particular juncture. In 2021, we, all 4 of us, upgraded it to the summit level, and it has flourished since. And it's been my privilege to have participated in all the meetings that have taken place since then. And I say this to you because I have personally seen what difference leadership, vision, commitment, and most of all, strategic clarity can make. During this period, administrations have changed in all our partner countries. Ours has remained the same, and I guess will do so. But once the initiative was nurtured, through the initial stages and it took root, it has been truly remarkable to see how prolifically and rapidly the Quad has flowered. Now, some of you know that I have just brought out a book, and one chapter of that is devoted to my analysis of the emergence of the Quad. I believe that much of that arises from the remarkable changes in India's bilateral relationships with its three Quad partners. With the US, we put behind ideological hesitations of history. With Japan, we gave a long-standing goodwill much more practical shape. And with Australia, we actually made a real beginning in seriousness. Prime Minister Tony Abbott is here with us today, and I take the occasion to particularly recognize and commend his role in giving our relationship that very serious form, which is, to me, one of the foundations for the Quad that has established itself. Now, the natural question that greets any new arrival is the reason for their existence. So let's look at why the Quad. The answer is very simple. It is there for global good. It is there for the global commons. It is facilitated by the emergence of the Indo-Pacific, and it is propelled by a change in the global order that requires more, not less, collaboration among the like-minded. So you would then ask, what does Quad stand for? I believe it has 5 messages. 1, it reflects the growth of a multipolar order. 2, it is post-alliance and post-Cold War thinking. 3, it is against spheres of influence. 4, it expresses the democratizing of the global space and a collaborative, not unilateral approach. And 5, it is a statement that in this day and age, others cannot have a veto on our choices. Now, this in turn would elicit the question, why the Indo-Pacific? And the answer, I think by now, is very clear. The post-1945 division of what till then was perceived to be a cohesive theater resulted in our contemplating the Indian Ocean and the Pacific one as 2 separate entities. This separation was an outcome of American strategic priorities in 1945. Ironically, it is America's repositioning today that is helping to rectify it. Why has the Quad grown so rapidly? That too is a legitimate question today. The answer here is that all 4 governments have behaved differently from how they normally do. Quad is an overhead light, creative, flexible, nimble, responsive, and open-minded enterprise. These are not adjectives we normally associate with the bureaucracy. So even as we assess its achievements, some compliments at least are due to all those who have shepherded it, who have grown it, who have actually made it unfold with such rapidity. What have been the achievements and activities of the Quad? These naturally focused initially on addressing the region's most pressing needs and challenges. I'm speaking here about maritime security, infrastructure and connectivity, HADR, critical technologies, communication, space cooperation, cybersecurity, counterterrorism, fellowships, climate action, to name a few. The really notable aspect of this is that at every meeting, we have actually taken agreed domains forward and have come up with new ones for cooperation. As my Australian colleague just reminded us, the Quad has also come up by now with its vision as well as with its principles. So in that sense, we have actually seen, even in the course of half a decade, a maturing of this particular mechanism. But allow me to dwell a little bit more on some of its recent activities. In critical technologies, Quad seeks to build resilient supply chains in telecom, cybersecurity, semiconductors, and AI. An open RAN pilot is underway in Palau as part of these efforts. We are also promoting cyber awareness and capacity building in the Indo-Pacific, which is vulnerable to cyber threats. Quad countries together have announced more than 1,800 infrastructure fellowships for policymakers and technical experts to familiarize them with infrastructure projects and their implementation. By pooling together our technical expertise, we are actually enhancing the ability of Indo-Pacific countries to select smart and reliable options. We have also commenced discussions about deploying digital public infrastructure to deliver public goods in the Indo-Pacific. One very unique Quad initiative has been the STEM Fellowship Program, under which about 100 scholars from 4 countries have enrolled for courses in American universities. I'm very happy to share with you all that the second cycle of Quad STEM Fellowships has been extended to ASEAN member countries as well. Another priority in recent years has been to broaden the number of stakeholders involved in Quad collaboration. While Quad has been driven by respective governments, if we are to make our work impactful and ensure really tangible outcomes, we need to work closely with industry, with R&D and innovation ecosystems, and with the academia. The private sector-led Quad Investor Network was launched recently with the objective of facilitating business collaborations in critical technologies, renewable energy, climate mitigation, healthcare, and other domains. These partnerships are critical for developing commercially viable and trusted alternatives which would build and diversify current supply chains. Interestingly, Quad has given birth to some larger collaborations that serve the same objectives of global good. 2 of them merit particular attention. One is the Indo-Pacific Maritime Domain Awareness Initiative, under which data is being supplied for countering illicit maritime activities and responding to climate-related and humanitarian events. And my colleague, Deputy Secretary Kurt Campbell, spoke about it in his message. The other is the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, which seeks to offer alternative economic engagement mechanisms, and it is making steady progress addressing issues like supply chains, clean economies, sustainability, digital economies, amongst others. India and 13 other countries are negotiating the text of agreements under IPEF. It is heartening to see in the recent years that many countries today have actually issued outlooks, policies, and strategies that are aimed at the Indo-Pacific. And I mention Australia, Indonesia, France, Japan, Netherlands, EU, Bangladesh among them. Although each of these policies have a different approach and nuance, they are suited for their particular national circumstances, they all have a single message, which is that they attach importance to their engagement with the Indo-Pacific and underline their desire to uphold maritime security and freedom of navigation. We have also seen this translate to enhanced outreach and engagement with countries of the region to provide more assistance and improve capabilities of the Indo-Pacific countries. In addition, many like-minded partners have visibly increased their presence in the Indo-Pacific through more diplomatic missions, trade, investments, and sometimes visits of naval assets. Let me, in this context, mention 2 aspects related to the ASEAN. One, that we have initiatives which may be outside the ambit of Quad, but which broadly support the direction, the vision and the objectives of the Quad. And one of them has been the Indo-Pacific Oceans Initiative, which was launched by India in 2009. And we've really been pleased to see that all our Quad partners and number of others have today joined in leading or co-leading the 8 pillars of this initiative. The other aspect which I wish to comment on is the issue of ASEAN centrality, because that has come up both in the context of Indo-Pacific and the Quad. Sometimes it has been suggested that somewhere these two concepts have diluted ASEAN centrality. I think anybody who doubts ASEAN centrality when they look at a map of the Indo-Pacific clearly missed their geography classes in school. And not just the geography class, I think they've also probably passed up on all that has been happening in terms of the East Asia summit process, and how that today is actually a very unique and I would say irreplaceable architecture for this part of the world. Now, among Quad countries, there is growing comfort in working with each other, given the strong consensus we have in our strategic outlooks. India's bilateral partnerships with each of these 3 Quad countries has also transformed in recent years. So it's a very interesting dynamic which is improving bilateral relations, contribute to Quad, and a deepening Quad in turn actually strengthens the bilateral relationship. And you can see this in the elevation of our defense and security cooperation, in growing commercial and economic linkages, in technology collaborations, and in people-to-people ties. Our strong commitment to Quad and Indo-Pacific has been clearly a key factor in the deepening of our strategic partnerships with our 3 Quad partners. And it is in this context now that I believe the Quad Think Tank Forum should undertake and expand the conversations about the Quad. So what are our expectations of the Think Tank Forum? One, clearly to debate more and to generate new ideas for the Quad, because the Quad, as I explained, is very much in the market for different ways, for new ways of actually collaborating. 2, it's important for the think tank to socialize, to promote the Quad, and where required to reassure others about the Quad. And the 3rd is that it's important that the negative propaganda about the Quad is countered. So with Quad consolidating itself as a platform, I think clearly there's a need for continuously for ideas and perspectives, and this is something which we hope that this forum would generate. Now, as you do so, I think it's important that all of you have clarity about the Quad. So there are 3, I would say, clear messages about the Quad which I wish to leave here. 1, the Quad is here to stay. 2, the Quad is here to grow. And 3, the Quad is here to contribute. So I would urge you all, please help us to make it more contemporary, make it more relevant, make it more impactful. That today is really the best way by which you can associate yourself with what I believe is a very laudable initiative that makes not just the Indo-Pacific, but frankly, the world as a whole more free and open and much more respectful of international law and a rules-based order. Thank you very much for your attention.